scarf. And the reason that he wore the scarf was to hide the fact that his head was disproportionate to his body. He's actually Irish. He comes from an Irish background, which sometimes they sit. There's that's a characteristic of Irish people. It's a nice way of saying it. So go look at Barbara Bush. She has a huge block head. It's just like Crowley. So those hints, people have tried to abuse me. It can't be true. But the timing, the overlap, the mother, her name was Pierce. His mother's name was Josephine Pierce. Something I can't remember. But she's a Pierce, and she's her bloodline. Go look at her. I mean, I think it was McCall's Magazine, which used to be big. But I think one of her parents or one of her relatives was like Morgan Witter, like they're Morgan Witter Pierce or something. Like she comes from a financial background, which is very telling. So both sides of the Bush family money from and their bloodline. People have traced their bloodline all the way back to the guy who died on Jacques de Molay. Have you heard that? The Bushes are related to Jacques de Molay. George Herbert Walker Bush, and George Bush Jr. are related to Jacques de Molay, who was the Templar guy who was killed by the king, and they took all their money. They saw them as a threat. And that Jacques de Molay is a huge. The Jacques de Molay Society is kind of like a porch masonry society for young people, so they get into masonry. And they're in the House of the Temple. The Bushes are they have a placard in the House of the Temple for donating it. The House of the Temple's in D.C. People always gloss over that too. I had this guy, this Christian. I'm not going to name his name, but he misses a lot, man. He missed a lot, and that family's been involved in a lot of skullduggery, even back in World War II. So, Prescott Bush and stuff like that. Getting back to the thing, is Barbara Bush Crowley? I don't have conclusive proof, but there's a lot of eerie similarities that don't go away. And it goes all the way to 9/11 with all the numerology and really the actions of the Bush. I mean, you can't write this and George Bush gave his famous New World Order speech on September 11th, 1990, 11 years to the date of 9/11. Do you think that's random? That shows you the structure of these people and how powerful they really are. They don't show they're really the truly powerful people never really show their power because they know how much power they have. The real fake ones, the fake money people, glitter, jewelry, cars and stuff, but the real money power is different.
And William, one thing that should really show to people is how far in advance these events are planned out.
Yeah.
Our long-term plans for people like you and I, maybe 6 months, that's planning way down the road. These people have this stuff. There's still people that don't understand that these towers, when they began construction in 1968, they were built with the intention they were going to last 33 years, not a day more. I truly believe that in my heart.
I believe. They're built by David Rockefeller and Nelson Rockefeller, and they stand out. They're a giant 11. They're just a huge thing. I mean, have you ever seen the picture of David Rockefeller with his watch? It says 9/11 on it. He's on the cover of Newsweek or whatever. They built it with the knowledge. I mean, it's really fascinating because as it was being built, the foundation of it and everything, Kubrick and Clark are sitting like close to where it's being built, writing 2001. So there's this weird correlations. In 2001, the size of the monolith is an 11. According to them, the monolith is 11 feet tall. These can't be random. They're not random.
Do you reckon maybe they poured his ashes into the base of that thing while they built it, and then when they knocked it down, they granted his wish by burying him under the earth?
There's a lot of secret stuff that I don't know.
Snap. The official story is he's buried. His ashes are buried somewhere in New Jersey. I think they said Hampton, New Jersey.
Yeah. According to my research, there's no known spot of Crowley's
That's interesting.
Ashes. But yeah, Barbara Bush, I mean, let's just go look at a picture. I don't know. I mean, it would make perfect sense. It all kind of fits together.
I agree.
And then you get the bloodline, and it goes into Kubrick. I think Kubrick was really genuinely, generously telling people about these type of people in Eyes Wide Shut. I really think he tried to get that message out. It's a brilliant book. It still holds up. And I did a really good analysis of that. I mean, Sean McCann really did most of the work. but I did an analysis, and it's all bloodline people. It's all heraldry type people involved in these Eyes Wide Shut parties. There's 11 servitors at the party that Tom Cruise is at. Harford walks in. There's 11 women. You at a certain point, these aren't random.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's come on. These poor Christians, man. I'm a Christian too, but
George, the coincidence jar has hit new levels.
It's full. We need to get a new one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
William, have you heard the story about Stanley Kubrick? And obviously, the night he premiered, the night he premiered Eyes Wide Shut to the Warner Brother producers at whatever hotel he was staying at, there was a big fight that broke out. And of course, he went back to his room that night, and he died on March 7th, 1999. His most famous movie was 2001: A Space Odyssey. And if I'm a big numerology guy, from March 7th, 1999 to January 1st, 2001 is exactly 666 days.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, no, I don't think the public cut is Kubrick's cut.
Oh no, they said
They
there's 25
recut it.
minutes that were cut out.
Yeah.
That's what I've
So
heard.
we don't have the full story. There's enough there.
Yeah.
But I mean, Kubrick was just one of the greatest intellects in film ever. He just he could integrate everything. He was very experienced, so he had been making films for so long that he knew. He was just like a Renaissance painter. Everything in the square has importance, and you don't see that in other films. You might see people trying to do that in other films, but really every sequence was rich with meaning and art and light and everything. I mean, he was really on next level, and his work will last as long as the world spins.
Yeah,
but I think he really was trying to tell something about this event. Yeah, if it spins, right. It's not flat.
I don't think it's flat. I don't think it's flat.
Okay.
I don't think it's flat. I was
Somewhere in
just saying,
between.
it might not spin. It might not spin.
Oh, right. Well, go talk to some of these flat earthers. I talked to one. He doesn't believe in anything. He didn't believe China existed. He didn't believe in India. I was like, wow, we're on a whole. We're on the same planet, but we're on the other opposite sides of the universe, baby. Because it was something else. Anyway, Eyes Wide Shut. I think Eyes Wide Shut was really foretelling kind of 9/11. Like, this is the people who are going to be involved in this. So I think that there was actually 1999 was a year of very important occulted films, and it would be Eyes Wide Shut, Ninth Gate, and Fight Club.
Fight Club.
It was also foreshadowed 9/11. So people knew. They knew what was coming.
Well, Spielberg knew. I sent Kayla a clip this morning of all the different movies Spielberg did between 1977 and the late 90s that had 9/11 references all throughout them. He's part of the club.
He's part of it. Well, I just found out recently Klaus Schwab was in Manhattan on 9/11/2001.
Yep. Indeed, he was.
And he's really an acolyte of Kissinger.
Mm-hmm.
Who was going to be the head of the 9/11 Commission? Does anybody want to take a guess?
Henry Kissinger.
Remember who they tried to get in? Right. I mean, these coincidences out over time, like, it's so frustrating to talk to some of these people. You can't take that next step.
Yeah.
You can't put it together.
I think that's a trauma thing. I genuinely feel like that's a trauma thing. I'm reading articles, how many years later, about kids that were in the wombs of mothers during this whole ordeal are actually experiencing PTSD, and they weren't even alive technically at that time outside of their mother's body. So like, I don't know. I feel like that's the reason why it was such a massive event, and the reason why it's still talked about now, and the reason why they used that and utilized it as a ritual was for all these reasons, right? It's like it's an amalgamation of all of these things, good, like magical or not, that brings so much trauma and attention to the situation, and they feed on that trauma, right? It's like harvesting a scream, right? So if someone gets fearful and that's 2 generations at least of people that are experiencing trauma from something that killed 3,000 people versus a war. Say, well, look at what we're experiencing now. We've lost more millennials in 1 year than we did over 10 years during Vietnam War from this death shot. What? And no one is saying anything. But we still talk about 3,500 people how many years later? Do you see what I like?
Right. No, they're using it. Right. Yeah. No, they did. And they did. That's the intent behind it, don't you think? is
Yes,
too. I mean,
100%.
it's a massive trauma-inducing event. Massive.
And that's
trauma.
what
Either
they
way
feed
you
on.
look at it, even if Osama bin Laden did it, either way you look at it, it's huge trauma, and that they worked that into 2 foreign wars and control and getting rid of the Constitution. I mean, it's incredible what they got away with.
That Patriot Act was written well before 9/11 ever
Well
happened.
before, yeah, and everybody just went along with the program. I mean, it's all planned, you know. So the trauma,
Well,
I think trauma is a very important element of the world we live in now. I think even them trying to harp like you're going to die if you don't take the shot, you're dead. They actually said that on the
Winter of Death.
Yeah, winter of death and despair, or take the shot. So I mean, look at how many people went and took it. So the use of trauma, these guys know how to do that. Because what happens when you get traumatized, then you're much more suggestible.
Well, and you want to be, and you want to seek safety from someone that you see higher than you. So, like a parent, you would normally seek safety with. It's like you seek safety from then the state because you don't have anyone else that could protect you as such, and you exist then as a victim. That's exactly what we're in right now. As humanity is in a domestic violence situation, we are in a domestic abuse situation.
Right. Go back and look at all the speeches of George Bush Jr. and look at how many times he says, "I'm here to keep you safe. That is my job, is your safety." These guys know all these techniques. It goes all
Michael Aquino.
It goes all the way back. Just to do one more thing, and Nelson Rockefeller. These guys, these are kind of like kings of the earth type stuff, like Revelation. Yep. Nelson Rockefeller, after World War II, was the head of what was MK Ultra, the behavior modification. He was the head of that. And then in 68, he puts together with his brother this huge building. Nelson Rockefeller is a key to 9/11. You wouldn't believe it. He died like having sex with his paramour, but these guys know that information is not recently with the internet. It's coming out, but that information was kept at the highest top secret levels within the U.S. government. So the people don't know. They don't even have a frame of reference to fit that information into their minds. Because a lot of it was really top secret. Now it's leaked out and stuff through FOIA requests and stuff like that. But imagine knowing all that stuff about behavior modification and utilizing all that stuff.
Michael Aquino had a huge part of that, and the fact that he was a Satanist as well as being top ranked. What was his rank in the army again?
I think he was a colonel.
I think it was a full bird colonel.
Yeah, he was high ranked. That's one of how high is that rank, George?
It's one rank short of a general.
There you go. That right there doesn't say anything about what they gathered from those programs and then filtered, say, through people like Michael Aquino, who gave them high powers in places like the US government. That this is the result of that. Hello.
MK often, they don't understand. They were studying the occult in the MK Ultra programs. One of the sub-projects was MK often, which was occult information. Does this work? And they studied everything. It really is incredible.
Of course I have. Yeah. And why do you think they focus on it? They worked out that it worked. And then they hid the stuff from us. They hid the stuff from us that they know works. And they hid the stuff from us that they know would work for us, not against us, right? So they use the stuff that they can against us, but they also hide the stuff that could potentially turn this fucking ship around, to be brutally honest.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah. I totally agree with you.
I wanted to ask William a question, if it's okay. I do believe this was a ritual. Obviously, we all know it was planned in advance, but do you take any, the whole thing with the My Pet Goat being read at the time with the chanting?
Absolutely.
And then, of course, the gentleman who wrote the book, his name is Engelman. I think it was, I can't think of his first name, but it's a very German name. But the word Engelman means, it's a Jewish Ashkenazic meaning, and it's angel man. And of course, with the chanting, the goats steal and all this stuff. Do you think that was? Don't
forget when she says, "Go get your books," and all the kids bow down. Do you remember that?
I'll
go
just
get
play
your books, and they bow down and pop up.
I'll play the clip. I'll play the clip really quick, everyone. Here we go.
Developed a relationship.
Get ready to read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready.
Kid.
Yes, sound it out. Get ready.
Kid.